Welcome back, everyone. You know how we're always on the lookout for new ways to unlock our potential? Well, this deep dive is a fascinating one. We're going to explore personal development, but with a really interesting twist, using music as a tool for growth.
Yeah, it's amazing how music just seems to have this natural power over us, right?
Totally. Like when you think about how a workout playlist can give you that extra push, or how a calming tune helps you unwind. But get this, we're taking it up a notch.
Oh, yeah.
We're diving into this system called your switch from wave. Ever heard of it?
I've seen it mentioned online, but to be honest, I'm not super familiar.
Me neither. And I have to admit, when I first saw it, I was like, vibrational melodies for transformation. Sounded a bit out there even for me.
Yeah.
But then I started digging into the material you sent.
Yeah, what did you think?
Well, let's just say I'm intrigued. They actually have some interesting explanations about how these melodies work. Like, they claim that certain frequencies and rhythms can actually resonate with different parts of us. Our emotions, our minds, even our spiritual side.
That makes me think of those binaural beats people listen to for focus. Have you ever tried those?
I have. But from what I'm gathering, your switch from wave takes it a step further. It's more personalized and nuanced.
Makes sense. Like if you're trying to create actual change, you can't just have a one-size-fits-all approach, right?
Exactly. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's zoom out for a sec. We're talking about personal development, and this source breaks it down into these pillars, kind of like a framework for understanding ourselves better. And I'm really curious how your switch from wave fits into that framework. What do you think?
Absolutely. And instead of just listing them out, let's connect each pillar directly to how your switch from wave claims to actually enhance it. So for example, the first pillar is knowledge of self, which is all about really understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, those core values that make you, you. And get this, the source suggests that specific melodies can help you tap into a deeper level of self-awareness.
Whoa, hold on. So like, instead of just thinking about your values, the music actually helps you feel them.
That's the idea. It's like the music acts as a mirror, reflecting your inner world back to you, but in a way that's more visceral, more immediate.
That's pretty cool, actually. Okay, so then there's emotional management. I mean, that feels like a big one these days, right? Everyone's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, it's huge. And this is where things get really fascinating. So the source talks about using frequencies that can actually help regulate your nervous system. It's about calming those stress responses, helping you face challenges with more resilience. They even connect it to mindfulness practices, suggesting you listen during meditation or moments of quiet reflection.
So it's not like just having it on in the background while you're cooking dinner. It's about creating space for the music to actually work.
Exactly, you got it. And that ties into the next pillar, which is resilience. Remember how we talked about those specific frequencies influencing the nervous system? Well, the source suggests that consistently listening to these melodies can actually build up your capacity to handle stress. Like you're giving your emotional resilience a workout.
Wow, okay, so it's like these melodies are giving your emotional intelligence a workout. I love that analogy. But okay, let's move on to the next pillar, goal setting. Because, well, we all have goals, right? But staying motivated, that's a whole other story. How does your switch from wave play into that?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. So they connect music to motivation in a really cool way. The source actually uses the term soundtracks for success.
Okay, I can already see where you're going with this.
Right. Like, think about it. We all have those pump-up songs, those anthems that make us feel like we can conquer anything.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
It's like they're taking that feeling and saying, okay, let's harness that on purpose. So imagine listening to a specific melody while you're visualizing your goals or maybe tackling a challenging project. The music, it's like it creates this mental and emotional state that's primed for achievement.
It's like you have a personal hype song for your dreams. Okay, I'm not even going to lie. That's actually incredibly powerful if you think about it. But okay, last pillar, and this one feels big. Spiritual and emotional fulfillment. It's a loaded phrase. How does music even begin to touch that?
You're telling me. It's definitely the most abstract one. But the source talks about it as this sense of inner peace, you know? Having a purpose, feeling connected to something bigger than yourself. And they suggest that certain melodies can actually help you tap into those feelings by creating this kind of internal harmony and resonance.
It's like when you hear a piece of music that just seems to touch your soul, you know?
Yeah.
Those moments where you're completely moved beyond words.
Yes, Exactly. And it's interesting because with traditional meditation, it's all about silence, right? But your switch from wave, it's like they're exploring this alternative pathway, using sound to create a space for introspection and contemplation and connection. They even talk about incorporating these melodies into things like yoga or nature walks as a way to amplify that sense of harmony with everything around you.
Okay, I have to say, this is all starting to sound amazing, but I have to ask, is your switch from wave supposed to replace actual therapy? I mean, music is powerful, but it can only go so far, right?
You make a really important point, and the source actually addresses that directly. They're very clear that while these melodies can be beneficial for personal growth and well-being, they are not a substitute for professional help, especially when it comes to serious mental health issues.
Gotcha. So no claims of curing depression or anxiety with a few musical notes.
Exactly. They use the term preventative therapy. The idea being that by encouraging relaxation and self-awareness and emotional regulation, your switch from wave might help prevent certain issues from becoming bigger problems. But for any serious psychological or emotional difficulties, seeking professional guidance is still absolutely crucial.
That makes sense. It's kind of like taking vitamins for your mental health, right? They can be helpful for sure, but you wouldn't skip seeing a doctor if you're really struggling.
Absolutely. I think that's a great analogy. It's all about being realistic about what these melodies can and can't do.
Totally. So, speaking of being realistic, how do you actually work your switch from wave into your everyday life? Are we talking like putting it on repeat while you're doing the dishes?
Well, the material emphasizes that this isn't just background noise. They want you to create a real listening experience.
Okay, I'm into it. What does that look like, practically speaking?
So they suggest finding little pockets of time throughout the day where you can really be present with the music. Like maybe it's while you're having your morning coffee and just kind of setting intentions for the day. Or maybe it's part of your evening routine when you're winding down.
So it's almost like creating a little ritual around it.
Yeah, exactly. And they also talk about listening during specific activities like meditation, yoga, or even just being out in nature. It's like the music enhances those experiences and makes the emotions even more powerful.
It's like giving your brain a sonic massage.
Yeah.
I love that. But okay, there's one thing I'm really curious about this whole personalized composition thing. Is that legit? Can they actually create custom melodies based on what you need?
It almost sounds too good to be true, right? But according to what I've read, your switch from wave offers these consultations where they really dive deep into your personal history, your emotional patterns, your goals, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. They're not messing around. So they really try to understand who you are at your core.
Yeah, and based on all that, they actually compose these unique melodies that are supposed to resonate with your energy.
Okay, that's incredible. It's like having a musical portrait of your soul.
Yeah.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I have to admit, I was a bit skeptical at first, but I'm definitely intrigued now.
What I find most interesting is how your switch from wave blends this ancient wisdom about the healing power of music with more modern approaches to personal development. It's a cool mix.
Totally. It's like they're tapping into something that's both timeless and universal at the same time. This deep dive really makes you wonder what we haven't discovered yet, you know? What if we've only scratched the surface of what music can do to help us unlock our full potential?
That's a powerful question. And it's something we can all explore in our own unique way.
So true. Well, that's it for today's deep dive. We hope this episode inspired you to tune in to the transformative power of music. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep those playlists playing.